Hey, what's going on, guys? Room Gaming here, back with another video. Today's episode, I want to go over trading and merchants in Civ 7 and kind of how they worked and what you can expect when you do try to set up a trade route for yourself. So the first thing that's very confusing to people is you build a merchant and there's no button by default to, just start trading with the city. So the kind of secret is you have to take your merchant. So you can see my merchant right here. And you have to take it to the city that you want to trade with. And I say you have to take it to the city. You actually have to take it to the civilization that you want to trade with. So I'm sitting here in Roma, but I can make trade routes from Roma, Pompeii, any of these other cities that I want. And what's going to happen is when I do establish that trade route, that's going to be through this button again in the bottom right, make a trade route. It's going to make a road in between here and one of my cities. So when I do trade, let's say I were to trade from Rome here, I would get all these resources, silk, cotton, dyes, and horses for my entire empire. So what does that mean? That means when you go into your resource allocation, they will pop up here and you can drag them over to whatever cities that you want. So for example, I'm actually already trading with one of his towns. So I'm trading, I guess it's a city actually, Neapolis here. If we do back out, we can see Neapolis is under his control. And from my understanding, that's the only way that you can tell if another civilization is trading with you is to hover over that specific resource and say, hey, where is this coming from? So there is no category here that says, hey, Rome is trading you all these resources. This other civilization is trading you all these resources. You have to literally hover over the resource to figure out where it's coming from. So for example, right, they have an icon here to show you a city versus a bonus resource. They should give you an icon that shows you what's in your civilization and what's being traded into your civilization. So anyways, kind of a sidebar, kind of a rant. We'll kind of get back on topic here. Okay, that's how you make a trade route. Let's talk about how do you unlock trade routes. So there's different ages, right? You have the antiquity, you have the exploration, and the modern. So merchants kind of evolve as you go through the ages. So if we go to our civics tree here, we can see right now through economics, you can see that we can unlock our merchant through economics. I believe in the antiquity age, it is through code of laws, and I don't remember what it is for the modern age, but each age you can basically upgrade your merchants. And what this means is the more that you upgrade your merchants, the further they can travel out. So in the antiquity age, a merchant can actually only move 10 tiles in between land. So if, let's say, for example, Thera here was another civilization, I made my merchant here in Argos. If I wanted to trade with them on land, it would have to be within 10 different tiles of each other. So we'll cover what that means here in just a little bit on how that's identified. Now, if you notice, our capital here has more resource slots than a lot of these other cities. So why is that? A lot of that is due to the buildings that you can build in a specific city. That's going to allow you to get more resource capacity. So for example, if we're in the antiquity age, you can build a market, and that's going to give you +1 slot to the resource capacity in that specific settlement. So I believe a market will give you another resource slot. I think you can also build a lighthouse and a bazaar as well. That will give you, again, more resource slots per settlement. Now, another thing to discuss is war. So what happens to your trade routes during war? So if I had a bunch of trade routes with Rome here and we were to, have war with each other, essentially all of our trade routes would be canceled and we would lose those bonus resources that we're trading to one another. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is this button right here. So you can actually increase the number of trade routes that you have with a specific civilization to go above whatever that cap is. So just know that if you do find yourself at that specific cap, you can always improve your trade relations with that specific civilization and, again, increase that cap so that you can get more trade routes moving. So if we go back to our resource screen that we were talking about earlier, basically you can see that we have silk, we have dyes, and we have cotton as well now available to us. We also got horses as well, so that's going to be an empire-wide resource. So that's going to affect all of our settlements, and essentially it just makes our cavalry units stronger. Now the silk that we got is a city resource, so it can only be applied again to our cities. We cannot apply this to our towns anywhere. So we'll just go ahead and throw this into, probably go ahead and throw it into Thera here, and then of course we have those bonus resources. Let's just throw them in somewhere. Okay, so we talked a little bit earlier about what land versus sea trade was. So land is going to, as you progress through the ages, basically your merchants will get upgraded through technology. And basically this means your merchants will be able to travel further. So there's two categories. We have land trade and we also have sea trade. So sea trade is if the route includes a water tile at all, is considered a sea trade. And if the route just strictly uses land tiles, then it's considered a land trade. So the one thing to note about this is that sea trades get 3 times as many tiles as a land trade. So land trades in the Antiquity Age is 10, exploration 15, then modern 20. Then the sea trades are just triple those numbers. So 30, 45, 60. So again, by default, your merchants, based on the age, based on the technology that you have researched, will have a set number of tiles that they can move out to trade with other settlements. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. See you on the next one.